Hello stampers, this is Yana Smakula. Welcome back for another Hero Arts video. In this one, which is a part of the color layering series, we're taking a closer look at the color layering Nordic tree stamp set. Join me as I play around with this set and show you how to make colorful Christmas cards. Here's a quick look at this stamp set. It features a solid tree shape that can be stamped in any color of ink and will provide a base for your Christmas tree. You also have 3 detail layers, which can be added on top of the solid tree layer or used alone for beautiful results. Of course, you have several sentiment options in this set, and if you look on the back of the packaging, you'll find a quick layering guide to help you jumpstart your creativity. A coordinating die is available separately, and it will easily cut the Christmas tree out. I have 3 cards to show you in this video, so let's jump right in. I'm actually not going to use the solid layer for my projects today, and I will replace it with the help of colored cardstock. My idea is to heat emboss the beautiful detail layers in various colors of embossing powder on various colors of paper. I've treated a piece of red cardstock, this is Hero Arts Cherry, with anti-static powder. This helps to keep embossing nice and neat as it eliminates any grease or oils that might have transferred to the paper from my fingers, and it also eliminates static and thus helps the embossing powder particles to cling only where they are supposed to cling to. Next, I inked up the stamp using Hero Arts clear embossing ink and stamped the image on the paper. All of the detail layers in this set look particularly beautiful, and this one is no exception. Next, I added white detail embossing powder and used my heat tool to set the powder and melt it in place. I really love this classic white on red look. It's very festive and it is so fitting for the holiday season. I used the coordinating die to cut the image out in my die cutting machine, and this is what it looks like once cut. Next, I have the Decorative Poinsettia frame stamp and cut set from Hero Arts, and I'm going to use several images from this set as embellishments for all of my cards today, really. And I have already stamped a poinsettia as well as several leaves and berry branches for my cards today. I used Hero Arts Intense Black ink for my stamping, as I knew I wanted to color these images with my Copic markers, and this kind of ink works best with Copics. I opted for just a handful of colors for my coloring. I used YG03 and G94 colors to color the leaves. Next, I went with R39, R27, R24, and R22 to color the poinsettia, as well as the berry branches, doing very simple coloring with minimal shading and blending. Because this is a stamp and cut set, it already comes with coordinating dies, so I used mine to cut these images out in my die cutting machine. Next, I worked on a background for this card. For this, I used a gorgeous Nordic tree bold prints background. I used my Misty stamping tool, and I heat embossed this background in clear embossing powder on Hero Arts Paradise cardstock. I followed the usual steps that I take for heat embossing, and I ended up having a gorgeous background for my card. Using clear embossing powder gave me a fabulous tone-on-tone look, perfect for a background, and not too distracting from the focal point of this card. With all of the parts and pieces ready, I assembled my project. I made an A2 white top folding card base using Hero Arts Dove White cardstock. I trimmed the background panel to 4 1/4 by 5 1/4 inches and adhered it directly to the card so that I had a little bit of the white show at the bottom. Next, I used foam adhesive and foam mounted the tree. I added a simple Season's Greeting sentiment stamped in black, and by the way, it comes from the same stamp set. And of course, I added the poinsettia, the leaves, and the berries. I used Hero Arts lacquer pen to coat the berries to help them appear glossy and dimensional on the finished project. I really love the way this card turned out. For my next card, I explored using other colors of cardstock to heat emboss colorful trees. I used a different detail layer this time and heat embossed the tree in white embossing powder on the following colors of Hero Arts cardstock: Kiwi, the light green, Pesto, the dark green, Cherry, the light red, Cranberry, the dark red, Paradise, the light blue, and Adriatic, the dark blue. I've cut them all out using a coordinating die, and my idea was to place them in a circle on a background radiating from the center of my card. I affixed my card base to the grid on my work surface. I centered it to make it easier for myself to adhere everything in the center of the card. And next, one by one, I adhered the trees on top. I used foam adhesive squares for each of the trees to pop the die cuts up and give this card a little bit of dimension. Although if you're not a fan of dimensional cards, you can go ahead and use glue or double-sided tape and adhere them flat to your background. I trimmed any cardstock excess that was going outside the edge of the panel. Next, I added a sentiment, of course. It reads, "Oh, Christmas tree," and I stamped it in black ink on a piece of white cardstock. And of course, I embellished the card using additional leaves and berry branches that I colored previously. Now, this is a very simple design, maybe even too simple, but it was easy to make and I really love the way it turned out. For my final card for today, I decided to do some layering, but not in the traditional sense of the way. First, I heat embossed the same Nordic background on pebble cardstock in white embossing powder. I trimmed the panel to 3 3/4 by 5 inches, and using double-sided tape, I adhered the panel to a white card base. This is, again, a regular A2 top folding card. Next, I had already heat embossed 3 Christmas trees using yet another detail layer from my stamp set. This time, I embossed them in clear embossing powder on Adriatic, Paradise, and Kiwi cardstock colors, and this gave me beautiful tone-on-tone look. I used foam adhesive and created one-dimensional Christmas tree by adhering the layers one on top of the other. This kind of card ended up being pretty dimensional, so this is something I won't be posting through the mail, but will plan to deliver myself. I used glue and adhered the dimensional tree in the center of the panel. Next, I have already heat embossed a sentiment and it reads, "Have a very Merry Christmas," and my idea was to curve it slightly and adhere over the tree and onto the background. I used foam adhesive as well as glue to be able to do that, and here's what it looks like from the side. I really like that curve to the sentiment strip. It's very unusual and it adds interest to the card. Of course, I added the little die-cut leaves and berry branches, and that finished this project. I have a lot more ideas with this beautiful Nordic tree stamp set, and I cannot wait to give them a try. Here's a quick look at all 3 cards that I have for you today, created using the new color layering Nordic tree stamp set. Let me know in the comments below which card is your favorite. I hope this video has given you some stamping ideas to try with your color layering stamp sets from Hero Arts. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.